G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Tuesday, the 27th of November 2018, and the time here is 12:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, as you all know, plenty going on here and around the world. I just want to briefly touch on a couple of things that came up in yesterday's comments. One, I haven't fixed up my mic as yet. We're having some technical difficulties with it. We can't figure it out, but we're getting there. There's a button somewhere that needs to be pushed and we can't find it, so unfortunately I have to record as the way I am now. To the gentleman who sent me a comment saying, why don't you script your show and use a mic? I don't script my shows, mate. I just say what I think, and that is it at the time. I'm no genius editor, journalist, editor, or anything like that. I just do what I do. I hope you understand that. If you want to stick around, stick around. If you don't, I won't be scripting my show. As regards to the backyard, this is my backyard at the moment. It's looking beautiful. This is outside my kitchen, to be honest with you. I haven't got in my son's bedroom at the moment because he's on school holidays, so I'm using the outdoors. Someone mentioned my cross the other day. Yes, it is a Bushido cross. Don't know if you can see it. There you go. It is a Bushido cross. I got it in the early 80s or middle 80s, 90s. And I was lucky enough to do mine. For you who don't know what a Bushido cross is, it's a mark of achievement in an Australian form of karate called Zendu Kai. And once you get to a certain level and you're deemed good enough, honourable enough, then you do what's called a Bushido grading. I should say that if you have one, then you understand what I'm saying about the Bushido. To get it in the old style, I had to do, I think I did 15 rounds, and that was in the days of full contact, and we were only using bag gloves, mitts, sorry, not gloves. It was full contact. I think I got knocked out 3 times to get it. But the thing is, you're not allowed to stop. Even if you get knocked out, you're expected to get back up and keep going. Like I said, this was back in the good old days, and I did mine the hard way, and I did 15 full contact 2 to 3 minute rounds to get mine. And the only reason I stopped was because on my last round I was non-cognitive, and they decided that I'd done enough to get one. And also got my black gi on the same day. So all in the old days, you know, probably that's why the old melon's a bit soft these days, because of that. But I was good at it, I enjoyed it, and I loved it. Okay, doesn't help the world's problems though. Someone said something in the comments that I just want to touch against actually, which is what, you know, I can talk as much as I like, and this is a relevant point. I can say as much as I want, but what is anybody else doing about it? Well, mate, the reason I'm doing this is to hopefully enlighten, even if it's just one person, man or woman, don't care who it is, to alter their line of thinking to the correct line of thinking, and to start preparing for what's coming. Because it's coming, no matter what you say and do. It's, as a matter of fact, it's here. It's not even coming anymore, it's here. And only a fool would not be getting prepared. Like I recently bought 6 chooks because, you know, I know what's coming. So now I've got 8 chooks. I'm going to get a pig, a couple of pigs, goats, you name it. I've got an acre of land, so I can do that. You know, that's not possible for everybody, but there is things you can do to get prepared, as much as I'm doing. And you don't have to spend a fortune to do it. It's that simple. Sometimes it's not, preparing is not about how much you own or how much you've got. It's about how much you're using this. And as I'm doing this more and more, I'm finding that that is probably the most beneficial thing. Is, sorry, my plants have just fallen over, blowing over, it's windy here. You know, how much cognitive thinking are you going to do? And it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, you have to actually get your head right to actually start preparing properly. And if you're not mentally there, excuse me, you're not going to do it. It's as simple as that. You're wasting your time trying, because it's just not going to happen if you're not mentally right. The thing that's helped me along the way and actually calmed me down a lot is going back to training, and you know, the old Carters, etc., and you know, a bit of boxing, which I can't really do because of my illness, because it flares up my illness for some reason. Something about punching the bag. Isn't it weird? The things you love doing are the things that actually make you sick. So I can't do much of the punching the bag, but you know, I'm doing a bit of gym, swimming, all that sort of stuff. But I'll tell you, the number one thing that's brought me back to ground level, and does bring me back to ground level, is spirituality. And all of us, I don't care who you are, and I've heard heaps of people, and I hate to name people, but there's a gentleman in Western Australia, Sam, whom I love dearly. He's a great guy, and he says to me about the prayers, and that at the end he says, why do you do it? He said, you're not a religious person. And I said, I know that. I said, but it's a way to communicate to people peace for that 1 minute. It's just a peaceful episode in their day spiritually. And I hope that makes sense, because he's right. I'm not religious at all. There's not a stick of religious stuff in me, really. But spiritually, there's a lot in me. Or I'd like to think so. I'm not the best person spiritually in the world. I'm probably what some people class as old, uber aggressive, grumpy old man sort of thing, but I try not to be. But things get on my wick a lot as I'm getting older, and as you can probably understand. So that's my point. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do a video as regards to this whole Alexander Downer thing, and just so people are aware. And look, I said this the other day, Julian Assange, we all need to hope that Julian Assange gets indicted to appear before a grand jury in America, and he's extradited to do so, because that will save his life. And once he's there, he's free to give over all relevant information as to what he's got. I hope you all understand that. It's not a bad thing for him to be indicted. It's actually a good thing. You know, will they try and kill him? Of course they will. Will they try and incarcerate him for 120 years? Of course they will. But that's not the actual big deal here. The big deal is he's got all the information. Somewhere, somehow, he's still got that information. And I just want to cast everyone's minds back a little bit, because I don't know if you remember this or not, but WikiLeaks did a huge, what's the term? It was like called a death key or something like that, if anything happened to Julian Assange. Now remember, that was actually processed online. So that's still sitting there just in case something happens to Julian Assange. So I'd be interested to know what is in that link. And there's a handful of people around the world who actually have access to that. Who they are, we don't know. But if should anything happen to Julian Assange, then that will be activated. It's still there. They never activated it. And he'd said, this is the kill switch. You know, if anything happens to me, then this goes off. I don't know if you all remember that, but it's still sitting there. Interesting, eh? Now tomorrow, like I said, I want to do a thing on this Alexander Downer thing, because I don't know if you've heard it or not, but there's an interview that Dan Bongino did with George Papadopoulos, and it is quite, and I mean quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Astounding, probably. I was staggered about what he said, and I'm going to play a bit of it tomorrow, because about 10 minutes of it that he, towards the end of the video, that he gets down to speaking about Downer and Downer's involvement in this whole thing, which was, by the way, extremely nefarious. Extremely. And I've actually realised something yesterday about timelines, and I'm going to bring that to you guys tomorrow. So I'll do that tomorrow. Well, before I go, folks, I thought I'd just share this with you because it's important. If you're not aware of it, the Russian Navy decided to impound 3 Ukrainian warships plus crews because they went through their waters. They'll obviously give them back, maybe, but that's a big no-no. You don't do shit like that, and you gotta wonder if somebody's actually pulling their chain, and made, you know, it was done for a reason. You don't just sail through Russian waters. It's hilarious, isn't it? They think we're stupid, really do. Okay, folks, here's the verse of the day. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe. Very good. And as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Alright, folks, prep out. God bless.